Yeah! And welcome to the superfunawesomehappytime pedal show. My name is Gabor.
Hey, welcome. I'm Alex.
And this is The Mood. What is it, Alex?
It's the best salmon pedal coloured pedal you're going to play all year.
Absolutely.
That's a fact. So this is kind of...
What is it, Alex?
Two pedals, two completely different effects in one.
Yeah. Before we even start, big thank you to Joel Corti at Chase Bliss for being absolutely awesome and sending us one of them.
Oh, and yeah, thank you very much. And also please hit like and subscribe on this video and the channel. Hit the notification bell. And that'd be much appreciated. So yeah, pretty much two whole complete effects units that can interact.
Yes, and they're both, I think, worthy of their own video because each part of it. So we've got the sort of left side, which I guess is you still use the two pedals in the middle, if you can see that out there, which is was made in collaboration with All Blood Noise Endeavors, and then this side, which again you can still use the two knobs in the middle, was done in collaboration with Drolo Effects in Belgium. Hello, All Blood Noise Endeavors, and hello, Drolo Effects. Yeah, so it's basically a delay reverb tape thing with a looper thing that kind of interact in a sort of granular way.
Yep.
And stuff.
Catchy title, isn't it?
That's it. I know. I've got glasses. I'm a whiz kid. So in the intro, we had a loop. We looped the tapping, but it's a thing called stretch. We'll get into that. We'll watch the next video, part 2, where we do the Drolo side. Today we're just looking at the All Blood Noise side. But it was basically an effect called stretch, where you loop a little bit and then you can stretch it. So I did the tapping thing badly at the start, and we looped it and stretched it, so it turned into this big long pad.
Yeah.
And then played an A minor chord. And anyway. So let's have a look at this. Basically, what it is one knob called time, one knob called modify, which changes what it does depending on which one of these three switcheroony sections you're at. One is called reverb, one's called delay, and one's called slip.
Yep.
Now, in the intro, we had the delay on, and the delay, if the modified part is the feedback, and if you turn it all the way clockwise, it's infinite feedback. It doesn't self-oscillate.
Just keeps going forever.
Yeah. So let's look at that. Let's start with that, for example.
Sure.
We're going to the Seritone OTS Mini 20 with the Tompkins. Yeah, you weren't on. It sounds actually. the intro, we also had a little bit of a Dark World by Chase Bliss, which is hiding here. And we actually had it in front of the mood. So once we did the loops, we could add some ambiance in the playing that we were doing over it, or Alex was doing over it. Okay, so let's have a look now. The two knobs in the middle are mix at the moment anyway. So this is all the way dry. Let's just do that. And it's all wet, right?
Yeah.
I also have one of the dip switches switched on in the back, which is trails. And trails just means you can, if you turn it off, it'll keep going. And that's how we sort of did some of the looping on that side as well. So it won't turn off, but when you play, it doesn't go through it anymore. Okay, and then there's also the clock knob. There's lots of talking, so I'm sorry, I apologize straight away, because there's a lot to go through, because it's quite quirky the way it all works. Clock works for both, and it's kind of like
it's a sample rate.
Sample rate reducer kind of thing. So if you're all the way clockwise, so let's for example start off with the delay.
Yeah.
If you're all the way clockwise, you have the highest sample rate but the shortest time. Yeah. It's like if you have an SD card and you record, for example, with our camera, if we would set it to the lowest quality of recording, we'd have the most amount of time. But because it's set to highest quality of recording, we have the lowest amount of time. It's the same sort of kind of thing, principle with this. So with the delay time set to the full, like as long as it goes, with the sample rate as high as it goes, we've got this kind of delay. So it's like 100 milliseconds or less even.
No, that's about 300 or 400.
Was it 300-400 milliseconds? Yeah. It's quite not much. So now if I go this all the way that way, you can't even hear it. It's a weird sound when you do that.
Peculiar.
Anyway, so now let's go all the way up to the longest setting, right?
Yep.
If I now move the clock down to, let's say, halfway, we have heaps longer delay time, but the quality drops, which is actually in a delay quite nice because you get a darker repeat.
Yeah.
Which sounds actually. If I drop the clock even more, we get a lot of noise, and now we've got stupidly long delay time. There it was.
But it's also that kind of 8-bit distorted.
Super bit crushed, yeah.
Yeah.
Other cool thing the clock thing does, it's not a gradual knob, right? I mean, it is gradual if you feel like if you do it, but the actual settings on it are notched. So it's actually quite a musical thing. So, I mean, for example, and this is just to give an example, so if you play anything, right?
Yeah.
So this is now set to infinite repeats basically. I just turn the mix down so you can't hear it. If I now change a clock, what it will do is it'll actually, in a musical way, it'll change it. It'll go up a fifth, then up an octave, up another fifth, up an octave. So the way they divided the clock part up, which is sort of the sample rate, is in a musical way. So you don't get that kind of weird out of tune stuff. It actually, whatever setting you move it to, it stays in tune, which is, I think, excellent. Okay, so now let's keep playing around with the delay. I mean, that's basically the delay. I find for the delay, especially one of the nicest places for me is when you turn the clock down.
Yeah.
You get to that place where it's noisy, and you just go just in front of that, and
Sure.
then it's this lovely, really dark delay.
Cool. See that.
just think it's just as a delay, lovely sounding delay, right? So I mean that's the delay, and then you can modulate the knobs with. So for example, one of the things you can do, we'll do probably a series of videos, and we do one video just on the switches in the back. But for example, if I flick this first switch down, which modulates the time knob, if we just play with it, actually you can get some really cool sounds out of it. And so on and so on. So that was
welcome to the future.
Welcome to the future. So it was modulating the time. Basically, what dip switches do. I mean, we'll get into that. It's like someone moves the knob for you. Yep. That's basically all it is. Okay, so that's a delay, right? Are we sort of semi-happy with the delay?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Delay does
delay. Reverb. Now the reverb is basically a particle-esque reverb. So what you do is the modify knob in this case is a thing called smear. Schmear. So if you have it all the way counterclockwise, what actually happens is, so at the top is delay time or reverb time. The bottom is the smear. So if you, for example, have this all the way counterclockwise and you turn, let's flick that way, and you turn this down to somewhere here, you get this. So you get...
It's actually kind of many tiny little delays.
Well, I mean, what a reverb is let's say you're in a room and it's basically my voice hitting that wall and the ceiling and the floor and that, and it bounces back at different times. And what that creates is the reverb, because it all kind of smears into each other, hence the word smear. So what this does is it gives you almost like a pattern delay. Like if you just strum up. Now, so it's like a pattern delay. So if you just hit something like once, it's like it's almost like a galloping sort of kind of sound.
Yeah.
Now, the more I turn this knob clockwise, the more it all kind of blends together into a reverb. So, you know, if you just do staccato stuff. Okay, so it's a reverb, but you can get that sort of kind of granular sound. So if you turn this down a bit and have the reverb, the time up, it turns into this kind of granular delay reverb kind of sounding thing.
Cool. Okay.
One thing I actually really like with this as well, and again, we're getting into the knobs more, but it's just the very first switch, the dip switches, is modulating the time. It gives you this kind of pad thing in the background. Oh, hang on. I did that. Because the mix knob gets frozen where you set it as you flick the switch. So when a mix a little less than halfway, Now we're going to flick it. Okay. And it almost it's funny because it's like if you just hit something, like play something. It's almost like it doesn't go the same speed as what it's a set time in how fast it speeds up and so that. I really like it. So that was the dip switch set to modulate this knob, and all it did was the delay time basically went up and down.
Cool, hey?
Now, with this, what you can also do is you can still use this. So you can make it super pristine, but...
The clock sound.
The clock sound, yeah.
Yeah.
But then you can turn it down and you get a bigger reverb, much more massive kind of reverb, but it's a little bit lo-fi, which again, I think sounds great. So that's that. So it's again, it gives you that kind of the option, and you can, if you really want to, and you can hear the noise.
Yeah.
You can make it like a really super lo-fi sounding thing.
Yeah, that's like maybe lo-fi but short length.
Well, it's almost ring modulator-ish.
That's true.
So you can get some super lo-fi kind of sounds out of it.
That's weird.
So that's the reverb side, somewhat. Now, the one that's the most complicated to explain and the one that I don't necessarily understand, and I don't necessarily think anyone other than probably the guys from Chase Bliss, hello guys from Chase Bliss, understand, and probably the guys from All Blood Noise Endeavors because they made it, is the slip mode. Now, it's kind of like a really short pitch delay, but then it's kind of like a tape stop kind of thing, but then it's also kind of like a reverse thing, really short. Okay, so basically,
on that note,
on this one, the top knob, again, it sets how close to, so probably the easiest, the best one to try it out on is if you go all the way clockwise and modify. Now, that changes it, at the moment, we're going up an octave, and this is the shortest delay time. So if you play something... Yeah, so it goes up an octave. If I move this clockwise, it's a longer delay. It's lovely, isn't it? And with this again,
I'm not sure what to play though.
Yeah, well, that's it. With
cool.
the clock again, you make it really pristine and stupidly short. So if you go like all the way up,
well,
it's like.
take the clock back like one step. I'll get a little bit more length on it.
Let's crack in then.
It's fun.
Let's go back sort of in the middle somewhere.
Yep.
And as you move this down, this is now when it starts getting interesting. So let's move this all the way down to here.
Yep.
Now, as you're playing. Instant knobs video.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, yeah. I gotta do the E.
Yep.
So then you can, so you basically, as you're moving it back, you change the pitch of it. So now.
All right. It's cool, but I'm not sure what to play.
So now we're going an octave down, but we're going in reverse. So it's backwards now.
Oh, is that what
which
it is?
it sort of gives you that softer attack too, which kind of works better with the.
Let's go all the way with the mix then.
Okay. Goes low. And now as you keep going, you're going up in pitch again, but in reverse. So you basically have.
Okay, right.
And then, of course, you can, like with everything, you can modulate it with the dip switches in the back, which will be a separate video.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's basically that in a nutshell.
So we're going to do another video with the right-hand side, and probably maybe a third video just with a whole bunch of sounds and combinations.
And then maybe have other instruments, like
Yes.
possibly saxophone and other things, and maybe some synth, and maybe some drum machines, all that sort of stuff running through it all. But, I mean, that's basically in a nutshell. That's the left side, the all blood noise side, which is meant to be the sort of simpler side. But I mean, we're now, 26 minutes into this video, and it's just the left-hand side. So I thought that both sides are basically their own pedals.
Yep.
And in all honesty, if they would have released each side as a separate pedal, I still would have bought it probably.
Yeah.
So.
Very cool.
So on that note, stay tuned for part 2 for the Drolo side. Please make sure to do what, Alex?
Many things. Be kind to your mother. If you could check out the links below to Instagram and Facebook page, as well as our podcast. We talk about this stuff and all the things we've been doing.
Yes.
And again, like and subscribe to the channel and the video. Much appreciated. Hit notification bell. And we'll see you next time for some more mood action.
Bye-bye.
See ya.